Hi guys, this is the part 2 video for our deck, for our Jun deck, our black green splashing red deck. I ran out of time, so I basically need to make a part 2 video. But we're essentially in our final boss. We managed to get down to 1 life, and we got lucky by playing a bunch of creatures and then top decking and having Bestiary to help smooth out our draws and win. So pretty. If you want to see the first portion of this game, just try to try to essentially let's see. I could attack with a 2/3, but I don't want him to draw. Let's just say go. Just just watch the final portion of the part 1 video. But yeah, now we have Hungry Flame, so this is great. Let's just attack with the Herald for now. Could attack with the Gifted Aetherborn, but I'd rather just have that on defense to gain me life while I get in with the 5/5. Hungry Flames can maybe deal with something that's annoying at instant speed. Opponent's just going to top deck a bunch of lands. We keep bombing some lands, okay, so yeah, I don't really need to play anything out, just hide my info. And then hopefully, if he has his own Hungry Flames, I'll just use mine. I mean, I guess if he has Hungry Flames, then I'm just dead. No, actually, Hungry Flames needs to deal 3 damage to me, whereas I can gain 2 off of the Appetite, so I don't actually hate it. And the Gifted Aetherborn can also gain me 2 life if he decides to attack, so yeah, we're in good shape. I can play out the Tiger. Do I want to? I could attack with the Tiger and then pump it, and then I mean, he gets to draw a bunch of cards, so I'm not sure if I want to, so yep. Draw a bunch of cards. Prism. Don't think I need Prism here. Maybe I can go for a double Repairing Tiger attack next turn to get in for complete lethal. But I could have been gaining life with the Aetherborn by now, but I think I still need to stay back here, and then we'll say go. Make him discard his final card, which is Faithful Showdown. Deals damage to any target number of... Okay, he has 0 cards. So yeah, we got him. Jeez. Very close matchup. We even... I even declined to play the Bestiary on curve just to put another Death Toucher out in the battlefield. But yeah, nice 7-2 video. This is just a part 2 video. But again, if you want to see the deck building and the rest of the games, just watch the part 1 video. Sorry I couldn't focus too much just talking while playing. So yeah, 7 wins. Let's go through the deck. And then what are we running? We're running 16 lands, which surprisingly enough is quite effective, especially with Double Druid of the Cal and Prophetic Prism helping us to cantrip and find our land drops. Looking at our removal spells, we have Double Daring Demolition, Hungry Flames, Appetite for the Unnatural, and then to a lesser extent some Death Touch creatures, Aether Poisoner, Gifted Aetherborn are both very excellent. I guess we also have Chandra's Revolution that we're splashing for. In order to find our mana, we do have the Prophetic Prism, which can help us fix, and then the Double Wild Wanderer helping us find our mountains were quite nice. We transitioned into black after the second pack, after second picking the Herald of Anguish and realizing that black was a bit open in the first pack. I was considering red-black aggro, since this is where the Herald of the Anguish would have most likely been overperforming in, but we settled down in green since it was a lot more open in the final pack, and then we also had the Bestiary anyways and the Cobra as fine artifacts which can help us ramp. But yeah, the draft went a little bit strange. I think I should have just stuck with black-green anyways. I think I was too focused on following the archetype rule where black-green needs to be the +1/+1 counters, fabricate type of deck instead of the artifact improvise deck, but it managed to turn out quite decently, even with 14 creatures. We also have Wildest Dreams in the late game, which which also did a ton of work, being able to find us fetch back removal spells and creatures in the late game. But yeah, the biggest bombs are definitely Herald of Anguish and the Life Crafter's Bestiary, as well as our removal spells. So quite an interesting draft. So I think I'm just going to celebrate by cracking some packs now. Let's see, need to put this in the thumbnail for the video. Yeah, this is a nice 7 wins. I in the part 1 video I named this Teamer, so I was definitely incorrect with that because I was just too busy building the deck. I didn't have time to think, but it's Jund, which is I haven't drafted Jund in a while, so quite happy we managed to get to 7. So we'll claim our prizes, and then I might even fire off more Kaladesh Remastered drafts in the future, as long as it doesn't rotate. But yeah, let's pretend we're drafting Kaladesh Remastered. Pack 1, pick 1. What do we have the fine pleasure of opening? Bomat Courier is again not that amazing. It's okay if you can get out turn 1 really early, and if the opponent is missing their land drops or they're not playing out any creatures at all, this can be a decent way to generate some card advantage. But in the late game, it's kind of bad. A 1-mana 1/1 without any menace or flying or evasion, for the most part, won't survive too often. And yeah, if this doesn't survive, you're just going to end up exiling cards from the top of your library anyways. If this does manage to survive, which is definitely very difficult, you can essentially discard your hand in the late game and then just get those cards that were exiled with Bomat Carrier as future card draw, card advantage. So yeah, Bomat I don't really like too much, but sometimes you can get lucky with it. It's very high variance, so I don't really like it. There's a Barricade Breaker, excellent in the Grixis improvised decks. Of course, you need to be playing heavy artifacts. I guess this can be alright too in a deck that's full of Fabricate tokens like the Abzan servos. So it's pretty decent in the Abzan servo go wide decks where you can improvise with this. But I guess this card isn't that great since it's forced attack every turn and doesn't have trample. If it had trample, it'd be a lot better, but unfortunately it doesn't. But it's an okay card. It's a fine filler card. It's almost like Gear Seeker Serpent, except Gear Seeker Serpent doesn't need to tap the artifacts to improvise. Actually, the Gear Seeker Serpent could just be better, since you can at least make it unblockable in the late game to get in for 5, and that's a lot of damage. So yeah, I think Gear Seeker Serpent I would probably take over Barricade Breaker and Bomat Courier, even though this does commit me to a color. The Barricade Breaker is, I don't think, super amazing, since again it doesn't have trample and it's forced attack every turn. Looking at the other good commons, there's an Ether Swooper if you want to be in some sort of blue energy deck. Renegade map can be quite nice to help you fix Splash and help enable Revolt. But I think pack 1, pick 1, I would take the Gear Seeker Serpent. Actually, no. I would consider the Ether Swooper as well. It depends on which archetype I want to lean towards. I think the energy decks are a lot more supported at common over the improvised decks. So not sure if I want to take Ether Swooper or, take Gear Seeker Serpent over the Ether Swooper. Probably just take the Ether Swooper for some sort of energy deck, which they're pretty excellent. But the improvised decks can also come together with the Gear Seeker Serpent, like if you do end up in like black-blue or red-blue. The general guideline for this set is if you want to be in the gold-wide Fabricate servo decks, you want to lean towards the Abzan colors, which is black, green, and white. And if you want to be in the improvised decks where you're looking to tap your artifacts and ramp large creatures out and generate lots of artifacts as well, you want to be in the red, blue, black, the Grixis color combinations. And then for the energy decks, you kind of want to be in the Teamer colors, which is red, blue, and green, I suppose. I forgot what the Naya colors represent. I don't know. I think white it's not really looking to do energies too much, so it doesn't really have any synergy, too many great synergy along with green and red. Yeah, I guess white is mostly just Fabricate. But yeah, between Ether Swooper and Gear Seeker Serpent, probably just take Ether Swooper. Harness Lightning versus Long Tusk Cub versus Dynavolt Tower. Dynavolt Tower can be pretty good, but the only problem with Dynavolt Tower is that there's just not a lot of... this is not a set that's focused on instances and sorceries. It's mostly about artifacts and permanents. Um, Blue and red in this set isn't looking to cast in spells like cast instances and sorceries, unlike most other sets. It's mostly trying to play lots of Thopter tokens and Servos tokens and go wide and improvise. So not sure how good Dynavolt Tower is. Like, I can see it being decent, and it can be better maybe in like some sort of teamer deck where you can generate a bunch of energy and you can turn this into a machine gun. But yeah, it does require a bit of setting up to do. Whereas between Long Tusk Cub and Harness Lightning, they're both kind of close. I think the Long Tusk Cub can definitely get out of hand if you have lots of energy and ways to grow it. And yeah, I remember this card being called the Mythic Uncommon when I think not Ether Revolt, when Kaladesh was around. This card was just something that you don't want to see on turn 2, otherwise it's just gonna get out of hand and grow out of hand and just win you the game. So yeah, Long Tusk Cub is a creature that needs to be dealt with ASAP. Harness Lightning is also a good removal spell. It's better if you want to be a little bit more reactionary, I guess, whereas Long Tusk Cub is better if you want to just beat down. So, I mean, both of these cards are quite good. Probably still take Long Tusk Cub over Harness Lightning, I'm not sure. It would be pretty difficult if we were in a pack 1 pick 1 situation to pick between these two uncommons, but I could also just try the Dynavolt Tower, maybe end up in some sort of Teamer Energy deck, and then I can just have the Dynavolt Tower as a way to just deal 3 damage to any targets. Although it does use up a lot of energy, so if you're not going to be in a heavily focused energy deck, it's not going to do much. So yeah, I'm not sure if I want to take this because you will be spending a lot of energy in blue-green anyways. So if you want to sink all this energy just for Dynavolt Tower, it might not be that great. Whereas most of the cards that have payoff for energy, you just want to use those energies right away. So not sure if you want to save up energy just for the Dynavolt Tower. It might just be better not to, and instead, like for example, if you have a Long Tusk Cub that's connecting, you might as well just spend out those 2 energies to put a counter onto it. Or if you have an Ether Swooper and you're trying to generate servo tokens, you'd rather just do that instead of saving up for the Dynavolt Tower. So yeah, I'll probably still take Long Tusk Cub over Harness Lightning, since Harness is a lot more reactionary. There's a lot of good red removal at common. There's like the Chandra's Revolution, Welding Sparks, Chandra's Pyro Helix. So red isn't lacking any removal, but it's still a good card. I would be happy to play this in any red deck, but probably Long Tusk Cub is just much more unique and difficult to grab. So probably take a Long Tusk Cub here. Probably take Fairgrounds Warden over Toolcraft Exemplar. Repairing Tiger, also an overperformer, but it's better to pick up these later since they're at common. But this card can definitely win you the game since it's a large creature with trample. The Toolcraft Exemplar, better if you can force some sort of very aggressive red-white artifact deck, since red-white is probably one of the most aggressive archetypes that you want to lean towards. Although, I mean, as long as you're making servo tokens and fabricating, then I guess this card can be also pretty good. So, I mean, you do need to commit yourself towards the Fabricate archetypes, where you're just constantly have an artifact, and then if you have 3 or more, this can gain first strike, which is hard to deal with. But yeah, Toolcraft Exemplar can be pretty excellent if you can curve out with it, and if you want to force some sort of white aggressive game plan. The Fairground Wardens can be a solid disruption removal spell, although if it dies, they can get their creature back. I think in one of the games I managed to ambush the Fairgrounds Warden with the Hungry Flames, and then I got my creature back, and I managed to get in a good block. So yeah, Fairgrounds Warden is quite good, but it's not with its weaknesses. Maybe I wouldn't mind experimenting with the Toolcraft Exemplar and draft some sort of heavy aggressive white deck. Most likely white-red, where this is going to overperform. But yeah. Dovin Bond is a bomb. I mean, the plus ability might not be able to kill anything, but it does neutralize a creature, and it also locks down their activated abilities, so it's quite annoying. And then with the -1 loyalty ability, you could just gain 2 life and draw a card, so it just becomes a value engine on its own. Yeah, I wouldn't mind just first picking Dovin Bond and forcing it. There's also Daredevil Dragster, which is quite solid too. Can go into any deck. It's not too difficult to crew at crew 2, and then if you can get in a decent amount of damage, eventually you can sacrifice this and draw 2 cards, so it will replace itself while providing you a bunch of card advantage. So big fan of the Daredevil Dragster as well. Aether Chaser also pretty strong in the aggressive red energy decks, especially in the red-blue or red-green, where you don't mind just generating tokens to help improvise, and then this just being a 2/1 first striker and providing energy for cards like Repairing Tiger or the Stampeding Rhino can be quite good, but probably take Dovin Bond, even though it's in the Azorius, it's just a powerful bomb. Alternatively, if this wasn't his pack, I'd probably still take Daredevil. I'd probably take the Daredevil Dragster as just a really good card that can fit in any deck. Scrap Heap Scrounger is really good. Obviously, it's just this is going to be at its best in some sort of black aggressive deck. It's just a creature that you can constantly get back over and over again. The fact that it can't block can be a bit of an issue, so you do want to lean towards an aggressive black game plan, which is mostly going to be black-red or black-white for the most part. But, you know, it's still a fine creature. Like, you don't mind just having a 3/2 that's constantly attacking in the early game. And then, like, if the opponent is low on life, they have to trade. They have to force some trades with it, and then you can eventually just get this back. So, Scrap Heap Scrounger is a pretty good card, but not going to be at its best in every black deck. Like, I don't really like this in blue-black, since blue-black is looking to be a lot more controlling. The Renegade Rallier is quite good too, although it's not very easy to enable Revolt. But if you're able to go wide and just go for an alpha attack, it's not going to be too difficult. And then once you cast this, you can just return a creature card back from your graveyard to the battlefield, which can help stabilize your board still and help you go wide for the next round of attacks. So Renegade Rallier is quite good. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And then final pack. Let's see. Yeah, Paradox Engine isn't great. The best card in this pack is by far the Thriving Rhino. 3 mana, 2/3, can generate some energy, and then whenever it attacks, just putting 1/1 counter onto this is really strong. I mean, the fact that it's already a 2/3 that becomes a 3/4, it's really difficult to block already. So yeah, 3 mana, 3/4 essentially. This is a really good card, and then the more energy you sink into your deck, the more this can get even larger, so it's a much more difficult to block. It's definitely a creature that you want to deal with and remove early with Hungry Flames or Revoke Privileges, etc. And this being at common, definitely. I definitely think this should have maybe been at uncommon from the looks of it, given how powerful it is. But yeah, Thriving Rhino would be the pick here. There's a Speedway Fanatic for the red-white vehicles deck, but yeah, take Thriving Rhino. Wouldn't mind 1 copy of Appetite for the Unnatural as well. So there you have it. Here's our second video for Kaladesh Remastered. Probably gonna do another video soon, and yep, in the meantime, hope you enjoy my content and have a great day. Take care. Bye.